There's a quiet revolution happening right now. It's not happening in the streets, but deep inside our legal systems. For literally centuries, the law has been all about paper, dusty books, and, let's be honest, the incredibly slow process of getting humans to enforce it. Well, that's all starting to change. We are seeing this massive shift away from paper documents and toward self-executing digital agreements that live and breathe on the blockchain.
So, let me just ask you this. It's a simple but really powerful question to kick things off. What if a contract didn't need a lawyer to argue about it or a judge to enforce it? What if the agreement itself could just execute its own terms automatically and without any mistakes? That's the core idea we're going to unpack today.
Okay, here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll look at the old world of law and see how it stacks up against this new blockchain paradigm. Then, we'll dive into how the world is already being run by code, check out the incredible benefits of all this automation, but also face the very real problems when that code goes wrong. And finally, we'll see how a new hybrid future is starting to take shape. All right, let's jump right into our first section. To really get a handle on where we're headed, we've got to understand where we're coming from. This is all about a fundamental change, from a legal system written in books to a brand new one written in code.
Just think about any traditional contract you've ever signed. It's a piece of paper, right? If someone breaks their promise, you can't go to the paper for help. You have to call a lawyer, then maybe you end up in court. The whole system is reactive. It's completely dependent on people to interpret the rules and enforce them. And that, as you probably know, is often incredibly slow and super expensive. Now, this is what really nails the difference. On the left, you've got the world we all know, law in books. It's reactive. It only kicks in after a problem happens. And it forces you to trust intermediaries like banks or lawyers. But on the right, you have code as law. It's proactive. The rules just run themselves automatically. The whole system is designed to get rid of the need for trust in the first place. So what's the piece of tech making this all possible? It's called a smart contract. But don't let the name fool you. It's not a legal document in the old-fashioned sense. It's a piece of computer code. It sits on a blockchain and follows a really simple but powerful logic. If this specific thing happens, then this other specific thing is executed. That's it. And once that code is out there on the network, it is basically unstoppable. Okay, let's move on and see how this is actually being used in the real world. Because this isn't some futuristic theory anymore. Smart contracts are already making huge waves in major industries. We're going to zoom in on 3 really big areas where you can see this happening. First, the absolutely explosive world of decentralized finance. Second, in how we're starting to manage property and digital assets. And third, and this one is wild, in how we're building entirely new kinds of companies. First up, DeFi. Just try to imagine a global financial system with no banks, no traditional middlemen at all. That's exactly what DeFi protocols are building right now. They use smart contracts to handle, and I'm not kidding, trillions of dollars in assets. They automate everything from lending and borrowing to trading. It's all just code, executing flawlessly on the blockchain.
And this isn't just happening in some unregulated digital Wild West. Oh no, legal systems are actually starting to catch up. This quote here is the perfect example. The UK is already passing laws, like this 2025 Property Act, to formally recognize digital assets. What that means is, pretty soon, smart contracts could be managing things like property deeds or using a piece of digital art as collateral for a loan, and it would all be legally recognized by the government. And this might be the most radical idea of them all. DAOs, a decentralized autonomous organization, is basically a company that runs itself on code. Seriously, forget about corporate bylaws tucked away in a filing cabinet. In a DAO, all the rules, how votes are counted, how money is spent, it's all hard-coded directly into smart contracts. Decisions just happen automatically based on what the members vote for. Okay, so we've seen what smart contracts can do, but let's ask why. Why is this automated way of doing things so powerful? What are the actual advantages that are driving this massive change? It really boils down to 4 huge benefits. First up, immutability. Once a contract is on the blockchain, no one can secretly go in and change the terms. Second, transparency. The rules are out in the open for everyone to see. No hidden clauses, no fine print. Third, speed and accuracy. Transactions happen in a flash, and you totally eliminate the risk of human error. And finally, security. The whole thing is locked down with some seriously powerful cryptography. So it sounds pretty incredible, right? Fast, secure, totally transparent. But, and this is a really big but, there is the flip side.
this automation has some very real, very serious limits. And we have to talk about what happens when the code itself is the problem.
This brings us to a really fascinating idea called lex cryptographia. It literally translates to the law of cryptography. It's this vision of a world where the code is the final law. But as you can guess, this powerful new world comes with a whole new set of its own unique problems. So here's the crucial point. Code is rigid. It suffers from what some experts call the ontological gap. It just can't understand human stuff like nuance or intent. For example, say you have a smart contract for crop insurance. It might automatically pay out if a sensor says rainfall dropped below a certain level. But what if the sensor was just broken? The code doesn't know that. It just sees the bad data and executes. And since the code is unstoppable, a bug can lead to catastrophic, irreversible losses. And to top it all off, when this network is global, whose laws even apply? It can get chaotic really fast.
So if pure code is too dangerous and traditional law is too slow, where do we go from here? Well, the answer isn't about choosing one over the other. It's about building a bridge so they can work together.
The most likely future isn't a world run entirely by code and robots. No, what we're really looking at is a hybrid approach. It's a future where the timeless wisdom of our legal principles adapts to handle the raw power and efficiency of this new technology. It really is about getting the best of both worlds.
And you know what? People are already building out this hybrid system. There are two clear paths taking shape. The first is building what you could call semi-smart contracts. These have pre-programmed emergency exits, basically triggers that can pause the automatic execution and call in a human to sort things out. The second path is creating new kinds of blockchain arbitration, which are like specialized digital courts designed to solve these exact kinds of disputes quickly and fairly. And honestly, this quote just wraps it all up perfectly. Code as law is an absolutely incredible new tool. It gives us a level of efficiency and transparency we've just never seen before. But it's not a replacement for the nuanced judgment that at the end of the day, only a human being can provide. Which leaves us with the million-dollar question for the future. We know these two worlds, the rigid, perfect logic of code and the flexible, sometimes messy wisdom of the courtroom, they have to come together. The question isn't if anymore, it's how. Will they learn to work together to build a legal system that is both incredibly efficient and truly just? Thank you for watching. If you got something from this, please like the video and support the channel by clicking on the subscribe button. That really helps us. Thanks again.